Hey, Rekha, good morning. It's very lovely to have you here. And you know
Morning.
what made me to approach you? It's the new terminology, at least for me. Ecotherapy. Oh my God, that sounds really interesting. Can you please walk us through about it and please introduce yourself to the listeners? I know there's a plenty to talk about. I don't want to shorten it. So please.
Thank you, Sharmi. It's an honor to be here and a part of this conversation today. So, I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Tribal, and we predominantly deal with the concept of ecopsychology or ecotherapy, where we try to align nature and human beings, and we bring about the idea of oneness, going back to the roots, basically. Ecopsychology is the concept, and the applied science is called ecotherapy. So we try to bring about interconnectedness between human beings and nature. So one of the things that we are doing right now, we're focusing very keenly on right now, is the aspect of forest bathing. So basically, ecopsychology, the therapy itself, is about spending a lot of time in nature, practicing the art of mindfulness, slowing down and connecting with nature so that a lot of your life is in balance. So this is what our ancestors used to do, and this is how they thrived. But now we have constantly gotten into the rut of flight and fright response, and it's become constant. So we are just doing something as simple as pulling back our people back to the root.
Yeah.
Over
So,
to you.
if I may understand well, it's like just back to basics, right? How simplified their life was. Now we are so surrounded by concrete jungle, living in a 60-story apartment. Like even to look at the clear sky, full view of the sky has become so difficult that it has become essential that you have to, spend time separately, take time and go there where you're surrounded by the nature to get the benefit of the nature. Wow. But it is, I'm very glad that people like you are taking that initiative to bring us back to take us back to the nature where we all belong in. And that is so healing and it's therapeutic. And the word, when you say forest bathing, could you please a little bit highlight on that?
Sure. So we call it nature immersion walk. It's a ancient Japanese technique called Shrinjin Yoku.
Oh.
So yeah, it's basically spending a lot of time in the nature to improve your physical and mental wellness. So basically what happens is you're very consciously engaging your senses in the natural environment, right? It originated in the early 1980s, and this was suggested, and now it's become a very integral practice of the Japanese culture as well, and it was in our country there for a very long time, actually, in a lot of other ways. So how does it differ from your regular trekking or hiking is that you're extremely slow here, you're mindful here, you're consciously engaging your senses, you're very quiet. You're not allowed to see your watch, mobile, phone, nothing. You're very quiet. You practice mindfulness, and the most important thing, you practice the art of being present. And when all of these come together, you being quiet, you being mindful, you using your senses, and you being very slow, and you being yourself in nature, there's lot of immunity mentally and physically that you attain from the nature. So this
Basically,
is
you
called
slow
forest bathing.
down and then you breathe better, and you are letting your senses. You're giving a big break for the thoughts, constant, external influences, and bringing back to yourself, which is missing these days. Yeah, always catering to the external demands. Run, be on time, take that meeting, deliver this, that, everything. Oh my God, I can't, accept you acknowledge the the need of this at this moment? It is a pressing need, literally. How often do you think it is recommended? And what do you recommend for the people who are, who can't do it, get into the forest or nature? Is there any other way of doing the same at the comfort of their home? Some self tip or something, self help tip?
Okay, so I don't believe the fact that people can't get into the nature of forest, and the beauty of forest bathing or ecotherapy itself is that it's extremely slow. So it's preferred for geriatric or old people. It's preferred for people with disability. Children, it's the best. So the beauty of the forest bathing is that it's relevant to everyone. And another beauty is that its forest is accessible. And when you're very slow, there is no things like, oh, you have to trek so far, you have to hike so far, you'll get tired, I'm old, I can't do it. No matter whoever you are, wherever you are, you can still do the idea of getting to the forest and doing it. That's one thing. And the benefit is way more for women. And there are proven records and papers published on the same thing that
What
what we're
about for
talking
the
about.
menopausal women? Does it also address the symptoms? Because one of the things that we say is relax, reduce the stress, and get in tune with the nature, heal, and all those stuff. So, how do you think it benefits a menopausal woman? Because my area of subject is menopause, so I would be more focused, yeah, narrowed down to.
Absolutely. But I think it has a lot of scope for menopausal women.
Mhm.
And I did tell this in your forum previously as well, where let's start with the basics, right? You have a lot of hot flashes, sweating, and all of these which goes on. So when you're in nature, there are two elements which act very keenly. One is excessive amount of good oxygen, and the next thing is something called terpenes, right?
Mm.
These are the elements which calms you completely down.
Okay.
So your hot flashes or your mood swings or your anger, anxiety is
Goes
all
down.
it all completely goes down because in the whole act of forest bathing or nature immersion walk, like what we call it, what we do the first thing is we do the act of grounding and we do barefoot walking. And under a people tree, we do deep body scanning. So these activities, what they do is they put you, they ground you completely, and your anxiety is gone. And when you're in touch directly, your skin touches the ground directly. Automatically, your sense of anxiety and other things calms. It completely calms that the energy starts flowing downwards. And there is one activity where we say where all the five elements meet. We stand there and sink in completely into the environment. There's a water body, there's air, there's ether, space,
Stimulating all
breathe.
the five senses,
Yes,
probably. Yeah, that's
yes.
a, yeah. Oh, that's
So yeah,
great.
yeah. So what happens? All your irritability, mood swings, anxiety, and the aspect of depression as well starts calming down.
It's all
Starts
made.
calming.
It's all because of the some element of stress that a person is, or constantly experiencing. And when you try to take away the stress element with lots of relaxation, with nature and fresh air, good breathing, and stimulating your senses. We are not in touch with our senses. We are just simply existing, I would
Yeah,
say. Right?
you got it
Bring
right.
life
Absolutely.
back to you. Yeah.
So
I
this is typically what happens psychologically. Also, when you're grounded, when your feet is there directly on the ground, and when you're touching the soil with your hand, a lot of changes happen. And I'll
Mm.
tell you the biggest benefit that happens in nature. When you're doing forest walk or something, if you follow everything properly, you are in a position where you can't think. Your mind shuts down. Your mind shuts down completely. And what happens sometimes, even if some feelings or thought process that comes to your mind, you just become an observer. It's
Wow.
very easy for this to happen in nature, which people try for ages to happen. So even when you're irritated or some emotion comes to your mind in nature, you're just an observer. There is no conscious, subconscious. Forget all that. You just observe that. Okay, you're going through this. Okay, this is what I'm feeling. It's a very objective idea of what you're going through when you follow ecotherapy, when you're taking ecotherapy,
Wow.
right? This is, I think, the most important and underrated thing about being in nature, right? If you're going to trekking, if you're going hiking, you go, you run, you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to see something, and you come back. So it's only adrenaline that happens there. But here it's you. You're
Yeah.
giving that problem. So your self-awareness is rises to a next level and you become
Wow.
very objective. So when you come back to the, city life as well, and when you do forest bathing continuously, and when you come back to your city life, this becomes a permanent feature of your personality, saying,
Like you're
okay,
fully charged, recharged to face the life again, with like a
yeah,
complete clean slate kind of thing, right?
exactly. It's a
Not
clean
too,
slate.
yeah.
You're able to observe. When you have mood swings, you have the patience to see and analyze, okay, this is happening to me. Okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. Not You're not very reactive. You're
Hmm.
responsive. That is something that happens in nature walks.
Oh, beautiful. I mean, it is how simple is it? Like, the beauty of this therapy is that you don't have to learn something. You don't have to put in any stress or anything. You're just kind of prompting them to be in tune with the nature, right?
And
That's
themselves.
it. And guiding
Yeah.
them, which was forgotten, which is supposed to be as natural in our ancestors' yeah, time, but now it is like it has to be prompted, it has to be guided for it. But lovely. It's at least there are people like you who are bringing it back. It is as simple as this. Let's get back to the nature. Let's reap the benefits from it, and which is very immense. And also, I would say it is inevitable. Without that, you just keep on depleting yourself to a time of burnout. That's it. And that is when you realize you go for medication, you run around, you try to you break your head to fixing it. But this is so essential. If it is, I think, if this is practiced, or if someone gets into the forest bathing quite often, like how once a month, what is the frequency you would recommend? That would
So
be like
I
a charging. Yeah.
No, that's okay. So I recommend take up for nature immersion walk once a month for
Oh.
sure. I think it's an investment on self. And
Hmm.
what we also do is that the beauty. Another thing is the beauty of nature walk is that we mix it with a lot of nature related elements only. Like we did nature walk with stargazing. Nature
Oh.
walk with, yeah, we did nature walk with sunset dinner
Oh,
and
wow.
nature walk with sound healing.
Oh,
This was done for women. I mean, I still have the same women coming to me and saying, listen, I want to be a part of this. How can I be a part of it?
wow.
Any way you want to, I want to be a part.
Mm.
So, in the forest, we did sound healing, and the impact is manifold. And even with the stargazing, we started with the idea of self, then it came to nature, then it came to a very calm and awareness of the self and in tune with nature. And then when we went to the idea of cosmos, we
Hey.
connected the entire thing, and we had really senior people. One of the menopausal women also have attended. We
Wow.
have somebody, I don't know if I can take up the name. We had a 65-year-old woman attending our walk, and she loved it, and she's been coming with us since then. We have a professor from the National University. She's also in her early 60s, who's been doing this, and she was fascinated. And then this month we're going to be having art with nature immersion walk, where you use naturally available clay
Okay.
and spend time.
Wow.
So all these makes a lot of sense. It's
Yes, the
nature.
small additions to it, that also keeps the
Exactly.
audience a little excited about, but it is all in tune with again nature. The clay work is also clay, it's therapeutic. But my
Yeah.
one question is that it had to be only in forest. How about a mountain, like someone going for a trek? Will they also have the same benefit? But yours is a consciously designed program. But I'm just saying, in general, When people who go for the track, they also benefit similar kind of benefits from the nature, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But here's the difference. Nature ecotherapy or ecopsychology as such can be done in any of the natural environment.
Okay.
In fact, more than the forest, in the ambit of different geographical areas, savannah grassland is the most satisfying
Wow.
because human beings, as such, when they see clarity
Mm.
in front of them, that's it. Modernization is a very new concept for us. Our
Yeah.
brains are still stuck to Paleolithic age
We
where
are, yeah, yeah. Mm.
we were like, okay, we need to hunt, we need to survive. So whatever we saw, which
In the
made us
gene.
survive, gave us that clarity, right? And then we relaxed. After doing all that survival thing, we relaxed. But now what's happening? We're doing it continuously and we're not in that relaxation mode at all. So Savannah grassland, even desert, for that matter, is very calming
Oh.
when used in the right manner. And then comes the forest, rivers, beaches. Everywhere you go, you can definitely do, implement ecotherapy or nature immersion walks. Now, coming to the question of how do we do it in the city, what I recommend is take for you to get an idea and get everything sunk into you. You need to take nature immersion walk. I think that's the best way to go forward. But the second thing is when you come back to the city life, things like gardening.
Mm, mm. Wow.
Gardening has equal, like if you see, if I'm sure many of you, your viewers and you also would have read about Okinawa,
It's very fun.
the whole book of Ikigai, and that's famous. And one of the things, and you have to watch the documentary Blue Zone as well,
Mm,
where they say they were able to live for so long and they are able to live for so long and so happily and healthily because they involve in gardening every day. So what happens when you touch the mud every day, when you're plucking, one is exercise.
mm, mm,
That gym or any other exercise doesn't give you that easily, right?
mm,
One is exercise, one is the immunity that's going into the body by touching the soil and other things. Another one is in contact with the nature itself. So one thing what you can do is definitely gardening. I think everyone must do gardening. At least give
mm,
15 minutes to gardening.
mm, mm.
Second thing is the art of not doing anything.
Oh, stillness.
Stillness. So I
Mm.
always tell my clients or people who are with me, my community, that either sunset or sunrise, have a cup of water, coffee, tea, whatever you have, wine, whatever it is, and observe. No phones, no watches. Let the sun rise and then rise completely, or set completely. But stay there for that 20 minutes. Don't talk. Just sip your whatever water, tea, whatever beverage, and be there. It makes a lot of sense. One is if you're doing this in the morning, vitamin D,
Yeah,
naturally,
yeah.
stop taking
Suddenly we
supplements.
step out and everyone is with vitamin D deficiency. I mean, how is it
Yeah,
possible? A very good climate, and it's becoming
yeah.
hotter. Bangalore these days still. Yeah.
No, not with the sunrise. Yeah, at that time, because the mistake we do is we wake up at 8 o'clock and we're like, oh,
It's
sunrise.
early sun and the yeah dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that every day. I have to watch sunrise every day.
Yeah.
And I do like, my waking up time is 4. I'm like up like this. And another thing about eco psychology, sorry, I'm just bringing it, forest walk, is your sleep cycle your sleep
Can
cycle, your
okay.
sleep.
Oh, we can
And
address half of the problem when your sleep routine is fixed, and that's a beauty. Yeah, the circadian rhythm. We are in tune with the clock, the bodily clock with the
so
nature.
this is relevant to everyone who's walked with us. They've said we slept like a baby. In fact,
Oh,
my mother,
that is one
she's
of
been
the
the biggest.
yeah. Okay, sorry. That
Sorry.
is one of the major symptoms for menopausal women, and then if you give them a list of routine for sleep, it becomes overwhelming again. I want to simplify the solutions for them. How simplified it can be because I know how sometimes it's overwhelming. It just makes it so simplified if this is going to benefit them.
So that's one thing which really helps. So things like this, even gardening, and this thing what I said, the art of not doing anything, that is simply watching the sunset or the sunrise, makes a lot of sense. And also, when you're having anxiety or when you're having hot flashes or irritability or something, go to your nearest tree, touch the tree, and observe the patterns. You'll
Yeah.
automatically cut off. And then, after observing the pattern, start breathing.
Yeah.
Observe your breath, observe the tree. See, what we forget is that they are also alive.
Alive. Yeah,
They
exactly.
pass energy
Mm.
that's there. So this will really help. This is how you maintain the idea of eco-psychological life in the city as well.
Lovely. Lovely. Very nice.
And
Rekha.
also the best part is walking on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, you are connected to the mother nature. I mean, you are getting, another level of getting in tune with the with mother nature. Yeah, and we have forgotten it all the time in shoes, slippers, and it's become. I mean, that's what I would always end up saying in my awareness session. Back to basis. You don't have to remember too much. Yeah, I don't want it to give you a list and then make you feel overwhelmed again. Do this for stress management. Do this for. Oh no, please, come on, just imagine how much ever you can go back to basics and get in tuned with nature. That is going to solve half of the problems, in fact. Yeah, and recharge. That's lovely to know about the program. So just to tell us a little bit on the programs that you offer, how often you run this program, and
Type of trees, as of now, what we're doing is we are doing nature immersion work with a lot of addition to it, which brings people closer to nature. Right, we're doing nature immersion walks with stargazing, like I said, with sound healing, with art therapy, with chanting, and with breathing exercises and all of these. In the future, we are going to bring in more rhythm related activities like movement, yoga in nature, and martial arts in nature. So that will be another part of it. One of the biggest things that we're going to be doing are the retreat and collaborations, right? Retreats will be a 5 day and a 3 day and a 5 day retreats that will start, which is very, very specific to eco psychology. We'll have horticulture therapy that we'll bring in. We'll have tribal interactions and fireside meditations that we'll bring in.
okay, what are your offerings, Rekha? Please walk us through.
So, tribe of trees, right now we have nature immersion walk, what we're calling as Whispers of the Wood. We do this with stargazing, we do this with sound healing, we do nature immersion walk with art therapy, we do it with diya chanting and diya meditation, fire meditation. We have a lot of variations which will always connect you to nature and which you can bring back home as well. Another thing, what we're going to be starting is green exercise in nature. Like we're going to do yoga in nature and we're going to be doing martial arts in nature as well.
Wow.
Now, and the best, what we're going to be doing, maybe we'll start this in the second quarter, is retreat. It's a 3 day and 5 day retreats, which we'll be going to be doing in a very, very different place, not your usual resorts,
Oh,
but these properties which are in the fringes of the forest, where
oh,
we'll have tribal interactions, where we'll have fireside meditations, and we'll have horticulture therapy,
okay.
where we bring you back to nature.
Wow.
And the best part about all of these things, what we do is there's no phone, there's no watch. You are consistently in touch with yourself and nature. That's the best part. Gaining a very objective observer attitude or mentality. Also, the idea of peace food, which will also help menopausal women to a very large extent. So
That's
it's
a
a very
good amount of programs that you're pulling on through. I just wish, it really benefits the people who are taking your services. It's really nice to know that you're adding on with a very thoughtful thing, how well they can be benefited. That's lovely. I can't wait to experience it once. So that's nice, Rekha. Thank you for your time, and I I wish all the menopausal women who are a part of my community or anywhere else from the world get benefited, and we'll be sharing her details in the description. Take care. Thank you so much for your time, Rekha.
You're doing a great job, Shavni. I think bringing awareness to a community which I think is almost taken for granted, a big deal. And one thing is nature really helps you. Go observe the pattern.
Yeah, I
And
wanted to give them the natural solutions. And of course, yours is the topmost. And that's what I advocate also. Without actually putting it into a program, that's where you come in. I bring in the people, I know their problems, and you give them the solution. So we work together. That will be great, lovely. I mean, for all the menopausal women who are watching this, it can solve the sleep, the stress, relaxation, and once you address these two, it kind of addresses most of the things like depression, lack of focus, what else, anxiety, the brain fog, everything gets. I strongly believe in these kind of natural therapies. That's why I'm here with you, Rekha, today. And thank you so much for your time and all the insightful being shared here. Thank you. Bye. Take
thank you
care.
for the opportunity.